If you'd like online business explained to you in a way that you can actually understand, go to latenightim.com/explain. It's completely free, and I made it just for you. Now, how about an episode? Episode 97.
Late Night Internet Marketing.
This week on the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast, we're podcasting standing up. It's very exciting. We're going to talk about all the stuff that's coming for you in 2016 from me. And we're going to talk about the total smack in the face that I got from our friends at Google in December and what I plan to do about it. It'll be good for you in case it ever happens to you. All this and more on the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast.
The Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast.
You've been working for somebody else, but you want a business to run yourself. You want to know how to start and where to begin. Can you get out your comfort zone, my friend? Yes, you can do it right when it's late at night. At the end of the day, your dreams burning inside. So keep it up and you will find that you're building your business one night at a time.
And now, broadcasting late at night from a little studio in the big state of Texas, your host, Mark Mason.
Hey, how's everyone doing? I hope that you are having an absolutely fantastic time. I hope that by now you've seen Star Wars and you've had the opportunity to listen to episode 96. That was last week. Spoilers contained in that episode, so I warned some of you off, but I hope that you got a chance to see it by now. Surprisingly, I looked at going to see that again this weekend. It's been out for a month now, and it was still sold out at the time that I wanted to go here in Dallas. I was really surprised. So I'm thinking Disney's making some decent money on this whole Star Wars investment. Seems like a high ROI opportunity for them and that they seem to be cashing in on. So it's really great. It is true. I am podcasting standing up for some reason. I just felt like standing up. You know, recently in my day job, we did a huge renovation to the office building in which I office. I'm in a building that's 2 million square feet, and we're renovating every square foot of the thing. And I got a new office, and in this new office, because I have kind of an amazing, fantastic day job employer that really actually cares about employees, which is super cool, I have a standing desk. It has a programmable button with 3 levels, and I actually have 3 levels programmed: a sitting level that's ergonomically correct for typing, a meeting level, which is for meetings when I have someone sitting across from me in my office, and a standing level, which is ergonomically correct for standing. And in fact, they even sent an ergonomics guy in to meet with me to help me set the desk and make sure that it was exactly correct for me and my elbow height and all this kind of crazy stuff. So I've been standing up a lot. And so I thought, hey, stand up podcasting. So I have a fantastic mic stand and it just slides right up and I can stand up podcasting. And I know from singing, because I've done a lot of singing. I've been singing basically since age 9 when I had my first solo. Maybe I was 10. I know from singing that standing is better because you don't compress your diaphragm. So here I am. I'm standing and I'm fired up about it. And it's great to be on the mic. So today I want to talk about a couple of things that are going on right now. What I wanted to talk about, you know, you guys know I went through this Michael Hyatt course. It's closed by now. But the result of that for me was 8 goals for the year 2016. I'm very serious about these goals. Some of the goals are deeply personal. Some of them, however, are related to late night internet marketing, and particularly 2 of them that I want to tell you about are super cool for you. One of them is very simply more content. In fact, I've targeted 250 pieces of content. That's one of the major goals for the year 2016. That's 50 of these podcasts, 100 of the other podcasts at the Internet Marketing Minute, 50 super solid pieces of content that are written in nature. These are also super cool for search engines. And then 50 videos. And for those of you that have had a chance to see those, I usually shoot those in my car. So it's kind of like what's going on with me in my day and how it relates to internet marketing in my car. I get a lot of nice, positive feedback on those, and I do them because they're fun and because it's a way to reach a different audience. So if you have a chance to check those out, check them out over on latenight.internetmarketing.com. But that's the goal. 250 pieces of content. It basically breaks down to 5 pieces a week. And so I'm ramping up to that. Not quite there yet on my publication schedule, but I'm committed to it this year, and that's the goal, and I'm putting it out there. And feel free to hold me accountable to those 250 pieces, and feel free to tweet me at Mason World whenever you don't see the content that you were expecting. I'll appreciate that very much. The other goal has to do with my autoresponder. You know, a lot of times you'll hear in internet marketing, the money's in the list and so on and so forth. And you'll also hear me say that in order to have a viable business, you've got to deliver value. It turns out that one of the reasons that the money is in the list is because that's an incredibly effective way to deliver value. How great is that? I mean, it's true that most of us that are doing something that we call business, we're doing it. And one of the necessities of that is making money, making a profit. I mean, we don't just do this out of the goodness of our hearts, although that would be nice. A lot of us are doing whatever business that we're doing because we need to make a buck. We need to provide for our families. And actually, the truth of the matter is the more money you make, the more people you can help. A rabbi wrote a book, and I'm not going to be able to remember his name, but the name of the book I'll never forget is called Thou Shalt Prosper. And it's a book all about how, it's sort of okay to make money. It's interesting because a lot of people have this limiting belief that people who make money are bad, fundamentally bad. They're evil because money is the root of all evil. That's not actually what the Bible says. Go read the Bible if you want to. It doesn't say money's the root of all evil. I'm not going to get into a sermon on this podcast, but I will say that the more money you have, the more people you can choose to help. How great is that? So making money is not all bad. In any case, the list is held high by marketers because it's very valuable. And one of the reasons that it's very valuable is because it's so effective at delivering value. So when I looked at my email list, it was obvious to me that I'm not doing an effective job of delivering value. So that's my second goal for 2016 is to create 12 e-courses that people can opt into and get awesome information that will end up putting them in my list, and that list will deliver them awesome content every Tuesday for forever. And so that's coming too. And as a part of that journey, I've been working with trying to decide which email autoresponder is really the best for this. I have thousands of subscribers in Aweber. I love Aweber. And if you are interested in checking Aweber out, you can find them at latenighinternetmarketing.com/Aweber. They're awesome. I love them. They invented the autoresponder, at least from my perspective. They were the only game in town, really, when I got started, them and GetResponse back in 2007. But they've been asleep at the wheel, man. I mean, I don't know what's been going on at Aweber. I guess they worked real hard until 2009 and then went on vacation until, 2013 or whenever they started working on their user interface. But their stuff just was completely stagnant, at least from my perspective, for years and years and years, almost to the point where I was starting to stop recommending them, even though I use them every day. I love Aweber. I love the people over there. Their customer support is great. But they just weren't innovating. And, there's some new kids on the block. Nathan Barry's got ConvertKit. My buddy Pat Flynn is an advisor for ConvertKit. And so I went over there and checked that out, and I was absolutely, completely blown away by the capabilities that ConvertKit offered. And so I've been working on a plan to convert to ConvertKit, as it were. And it looks like I'm actually going to end up staying with Aweber because Aweber is finally starting to wake up and add some of the features that look a hell of a lot like what's going on at ConvertKit. Now, I will tell you, one of the main reasons that I'm staying with Aweber is I have grandfathered pricing on their platform. If I was starting out today, I think, man, it would be tough. I really, really like ConvertKit. I like the people over there. Nathan's awesome. And of course, they've got Pat behind them, and I think it's a really good product. The one thing that ConvertKit is missing that Aweber has is integration with all platforms. I mean, almost anything you buy in the marketplace that needs to be integrated with an autoresponder is integrated with Aweber because, you know, they're the granddaddy of autoresponders. So there's a nice automation and ease of use going on with Aweber that you're not going to get with ConvertKit, but that eventually will change. Eventually, all of these tools will, like a member and wishlist member, and all of these tools will integrate with ConvertKit, and then the playing field will be level and it will strictly be a competition on price. But for now, I think ConvertKit's really cool. In any case, if you are a subscriber to my email list, you will be seeing some changes, and you will be seeing sometime in the very near future weekly emails coming out on Tuesday that offer you just valuable content, not sales pitches. I mean, there will be some sales pitches from time to time on my list. After all, this is an affiliate marketing podcast, but we'll offer you valuable content, stuff you need to think about, hopefully stuff that will get you motivated. And one of the things that I've integrated into this new strategy is a new website design, which will be coming sometime in first quarter at latenightim.com. And as part of that website design, we'll be integrating in new lead capture tools. Primary among those lead capture tools will, of course, be lead pages. I absolutely love the guys over at Lead Pages. Tim Page, who's the guy, the conversion specialist over there, the guy that does all the webinars, is a friend of mine. He's an old friend of the show. And in fact, we're going to have him on in a few weeks to talk about lead capture and conversions. But I'll be integrating Lead Pages. And one of the things they have is this cool gadget, and you guys can test this out. If you are not on my email list right now, today, if you're not a member, you can text the phone number 44222. That's 44222. And you can text late night, LATENIGHT, all one word, to 44222. And it will talk to you and ask you for your email address. And you can jump into my email autoresponder. You can jump right in and be part of this kind of exciting thing. So that's like step one of 10,000 of the things that I'm doing around the autoresponder. If you want to be part of this and want to join the list, text late night to 44222, and you can be part of all the excitement as we get all this stuff changed. But a lot of stuff happening and very exciting for 2016. Really looking forward to going through that. And since all of it's marketing related, I'll be sharing all of it with you. We'll go through it together, and I'll tell you what's going on. Tell you about how I'm able to hit or not hit this publication schedule, tell you what's going on with the autoresponders and how I'm doing that, what the strategy is there. I'll be sharing all that with you, and I think you'll enjoy it. Additionally, because of something that I'm going to tell you about in a minute with regard to Google, I've also made the decision that as part of this content strategy, you know, if you're going to write and talk and have all this great content, it's good to have something to talk about that's sort of a thread that pulls you through the entire year for content. And so what I've decided to do is to create what I'm calling the late night niche site. And in fact, I've already got a little stinger for it here. Here you go.
Whether you say niche or niche, it's time for an update on the Late Night Niche site.
So that's the new stinger that's going to introduce content for the Late Night Niche site. I'm actually very excited about this. I'm going to take some time, figure out exactly what it is I want to do, and I'm going to talk about it every week and what my progress is. And by the end of the year, hopefully what we'll have is this long string of discussions about how I went in and actually built one of these niche sites that we're always talking about. I'm going to take something that's meaty. I'm going to build a really helpful website. We're going to try and monetize it, get traffic to that website, and we're going to report the profits, just like we did years ago with the corn sheller site, where we talked about that. And we'll continue to talk about corn sheller. So be looking for that stinger and information about the late night niche site. You can follow along. And if you want to, you can follow along with me. And I'll give you a little hint. Don't tell anybody. This is really going to be a precursor for my niche site course that's going to be coming out in late 2016, early 2017. But, we don't have to tell anybody that.
It's time to get to work building your internet business. One night at a time.
One night at a time.
Okay, so here's the craziness. So in the middle of December, I didn't really talk about this with you guys because, Christmas and all, and I was busy. We took a couple of weeks off for the Christmas holidays and I didn't put out a show, but now's the time to reveal this. The much loved corn sheller site has come under attack by our friends at Google. Now, for those of you that haven't been following me for the better part of forever, I know a lot of you have, and boy, I really appreciate that. And some of you guys that have been with me since almost the beginning, Chuck Brown, you know who you are.
This is Chuck Brown from ProfessionalVoiceTalent.com. Professional voice talent? What the heck is that? And you're listening to the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast.
With your host, Mark Mason.
I really appreciate that. Well, you guys are awesome. I love having those people. Sometimes when you have something like this, the people that have been with you for a long time are that's sort of the best part. In any case, I got up in the middle of December sometime and I checked my email and it said, you have a notification in Google Webmaster Tools. Now, I've been saying for a long time, and I think these SEO gurus that I hang out with, including Andrew Hansen, they agree that you should be in Google Webmaster Tools. And one of the advantages of being in Google Webmaster Tools is that Google will notify you about what it is specifically that they see that's wrong with your site. So I had the much dreaded manual site notification on the corn sheller site. Now, this is the first time that I have had this particular one. This was the thin content notification. So Google basically says, hey, we've done a manual review of your site and we noticed that the content is thin. And really what they're saying is your content that you have on this site is not worthy of the rankings that we've been giving you. So even though you're being selected by our algorithm to be on page 1 of the search engine results, we are going to essentially derate your site so that you appear further down the page. This makes me think of in the summertime in Texas when I'm fishing and I've got some bait that would normally float, but I tie a weight to it. I mean, this is just like sinking to the bottom of a muck-filled lake. And in fact, if you look at the rankings for the site, I've been pushed off of page 1 onto page 6. And if you look at the clicks for the site, they've gone down by, a factor of 5 or 10. And the revenue from the site has fallen accordingly. So this is a site that for 3 years now, I think almost, maybe 2 years for sure, maybe 3, has been cranking out $10 bills at the rate of 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 $10 bills a month with no effort required. It's kind of a little money machine, a little ATM with gusts of wind up to $175 or $200 occasionally. And the thing that I really loved about this site was, since it was out in the open, it was something we could talk about. Well, we're going to continue to do that because getting hit with a manual site action is something that can happen to any of us, particularly we affiliate marketers who are building relatively small sites that actually do have relatively thin content compared to some other sites on the internet. And so for my part, what I plan to do is try to invest the resources in this site to see if I can correct the problem. Not so much because of the revenue. You know, if you had a site that was generating $500 a month or $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month, and you got hit with a manual site action, it could be devastating. I mean, it could be the difference between you paying or not paying your mortgage payment. When it's $10 or $20 or $30 or $40 a month, well, you know, okay, it's not that big a deal. And in fact, we could just choose to ignore it. And I could say, yeah, man, I've gotten all I need to get out of the Corn Sheller site. It's still a good example of what a site can look like. Let's just let it go. But since we're in teaching mode here on the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast, I think it's a great opportunity to see if we can actually correct it. Now, what is the Corn Sheller site? Now, you can go over to cornsheller.net and check it out. And basically what it is a relatively thin site in terms of content that consists mostly of pages that simply read eBay auctions. They search eBay for relevant auctions, corn shellers that are for sale on eBay, antique ones particularly, and repackage that content on the Corn Sheller website. And, you know, from Google's point of view, basically what they're saying is, hey, dude, there's no reason for us to rank your version of somebody else's content. You're just showing eBay's content, so we are going to penalize you. That's a pretty reasonable point of view for Google to take, to be honest with you. But if you're the guy who's making money from doing that, it makes you kind of sad. And I will tell you that this is another cautionary tale. If you're running a website and most of your revenue is coming from a place, Google or Facebook or Twitter, I've said this many times, you need to figure out how to diversify your income. I mean, you need to be careful about building your empire on rented land, right? And if Google is the source of your traffic, Google can decide they don't like you anymore. And that's exactly what happened with the Corn Sheller site. And even if their reason is good or maybe not so good, the simple fact is that if all your traffic is coming out of the Google faucet, that's exposure that you need to manage from a business risk standpoint. So anyway, here's what I plan to do. So I'm going to do some research. I know something about this manual site action stuff, and I have friends that do SEO for a living, and I'm going to consult them. But the things that I know I'm going to do for sure is that I'm going to do a full on-site search engine optimization for the site. This means doing a lot of the things that we've talked about over the years, making sure that garbage pages that should not be indexed on the site are not in Google's index. It means making sure that pages that we don't really want in the index, like the disclaimer and the privacy policy and other things, have a no index tag on them because those aren't really relevant. Google searchers don't really want to find those. I want to make sure that the sites that have repurposed eBay content on them actually additionally have their own content on the page, unique copy that's unique to the site. I want to make sure that we have very good page titles and descriptions and SEO optimization on a page-by-page basis. So we want to basically go through and do a full audit of the site. We want to remove all the duplicate content that we have on the site. When I was looking at Google Webmaster Tools, the number of pages that are indexed is way, way more than the number of pages of unique content actually on the site. That's usually an indication that WordPress has gone crazy with tag clouds or category pages or some other kind of junk that actually frustrates search engines. Going to clean up all of that. Make sure we don't have any 404s on the site, that whole thing, all of that on-site stuff. And then I'm going to add as much unique content as I can figure out how to add. Now, it turns out it's a little bit difficult to write interesting Corn Sheller content. I don't know if you've ever tried to write an article about antique corn shellers. If you think you're good at that, let me know. I might have a job for you. But basically what I'm going to do is hire someone to add some content, maybe as much as 20 pages of content to that site, which would almost double or maybe triple the actual non-eBay listing content that's already on the site. And maybe I'll expand the site in other ways as well. Maybe there's a related topic that I can add to the site that will make it broader still. we'll see about that. I haven't quite decided what that strategy is, but I'm going to come up with that strategy, talk to my SEO buddies, do that work, and then I'm going to let you know what happens. I will submit a site reconsideration request to Google. I'll share that request with you. We'll talk about it as we go forward. But that's what's been going on with the Corn Sheller site. Now, if you have further questions about manual action, or you've had this happen to you and you have some advice for me, or you just want to talk about what's going on with Google these days, I know today, actually, or maybe it'll be next week, Google is unleashing another algorithm update. So there's lots of exciting stuff coming down the pike. So if you want to talk SEO, just drop me a line over at latenightim.com/097, or reach out to me on Twitter at Mason World, and we can talk SEO and Google manual site actions and whatever else you want to talk about, and see if we can get this thing figured out. Otherwise, I'm going to go forward and take some action and tell you about it in the hopes that that will help you in the case that this ever happens to you. All right, so that wraps it up for this edition of the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast. You know, we're at episode 97. For episode 100, I have something special planned, so you're going to want to stay tuned for that. Let's just say that my mastermind group is heavily involved in the episode. I'm excited about that, and I think you will be too. So we got a couple of episodes to go before that happens, but in a couple of weeks, look forward to episode 100. Hard to believe, 100 episodes of the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast coming soon. Until then, peace out. Later.
You can do it right when it's late at night.
You've been listening to the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast.
Be sure to visit latenightpodcast.com today to leave feedback for Mark. Download special bonus content, access the show notes, and more. See you there.
Until then, go and make some great progress on your internet business. One night at a time.
One night at a time.
Hey, I hope you guys are having a super groovy new year. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast. I enjoyed doing it standing up. I really like my standing desk. I really recommend, if you've ever thought you might want a standing desk, I really encourage you to try it. It's super cool. I stand up usually at work in my day job from when I get there around 7 until I leave for lunch. And then sometimes I'll even stand up a little bit after lunch, but usually by 2:00, I've had enough and I'm ready to sit for the rest of the day. And I'll usually sit in that, kind of 2 to 5 o'clock time frame. I'll sit and kind of chill out. And, when I'm at my desk now, admittedly, I'm not at my desk all day long. I go to a ton of meetings, but I just love the standing desk, and the one they got us is so cool because it's programmable and it remembers the levels that you set, which is great for ergonomics. As I mentioned, in my case, I actually had someone come in and do the measurements and, make sure that it's exactly at the right height, which is pretty important, but easy to figure out. If you just Google online how to set up these things, you can figure that out, but really neat. So check out standing desks, and we'll talk to you soon. Ciao.
Late night internet marketing.
Hey, it's Mark again. I wanted to tell you one more time about this absolutely free resource that I have for helping people who are trying to get the big picture for internet marketing, actually get started and understand what all their choices are. If that's not you, there's no more content. You can skip to the end. But if you're someone who came to this podcast because you're searching for how to get started online and you just can't cut through all the noise, I get it. That was me in 2007 when I was trying to get started. There were so many people throwing offers at me that I really couldn't even understand what all the different business models were. I couldn't understand how money moved around on the internet, and I couldn't really get a grip on what direction I wanted to go in. so I could figure out how to move forward. I've created a free video resource for you just for that purpose at latenightim.com/explain. In several short videos, I just explained to you what internet marketing is all about and what online business is all about and the different options that you have for starting an online business. There's nothing to buy there. You just sign up for access and you get the videos just like that. So if that's interesting to you, or if you know someone who's in a same situation, send them that link, latenightim.com/explain, and let me know what you think. I'd love to hear what people are thinking that are in the exact same position that I was in more than a decade ago in 2007. In some ways, it seems like yesterday. And in some ways, it seems like an entire lifetime ago. Again, that's latenightim.com/explain.
Late night internet marketing.